Yo, 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 we in the building. You already know.
Peace and love to the community, bro. Thank you for having me.
That for sure. Y'all already know it's your boy D Calico and my main man, Tazz Maniac Wolf. Let them know big dogs in and I'll let the people, brother Taz.
Peace and love, brother. Thank you for having me on the show. Let me, I like showing my face and shit, so I'm not going. Not all the time. When I'm doing my thing, I'm gonna take it off. But you know who I am. I'm your brother Taz. You could find me on all platforms under the Taz Show with two Z's. We're bringing you some good information today. I hope you guys are ready. Hope you guys um bring some pen, some paper, because there's a lot of things that we're gonna discuss. One thing I want to stress out is remember that that we're not lawyers. We're not. All we're giving you is, at least from my point of view, I'm just giving you my perspective. I'm not telling you to go do nothing. I'm not telling you not to do nothing. All I'm providing you is my insight of what things what things are in my reality, how I perceive reality. With that said, thank you, brother Calico, for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to join you. Subscribe, like, make sure that you share this so we could get to as many people as possible here. And like I previously said, you can find me under the Tasha, so just look me up, subscribe, check out my material, and if you like it, share it. If you don't, tell me about it. I want to know why you didn't like it. I'm always open to everything. But again, thank you for having me, brother Kevin.
Yeah. You know, we here to wake the people up, as always. I ain't gonna we ain't gonna hit y'all with the propaganda or the fake ass current events or even the real current events. Like I ain't got we ain't gonna slow you down. You feel me? I don't this ain't no talk show. We're not gonna talk about the rappers that are getting, exterminated left and right. But hey, back to the subject matter at hand and what more so really matters, to the people. Because if you have your nationality in order or not, this still can help you. This still applies to you, and that's why the name of this is called I Do Not Consent. Because I know me personally, even when I was so-called a black person, even when I knew nothing about nationality, I still knew enough about my I knew that I knew about I do not consent. You feel me? So I've been able to stand on that. And that's how I know on a national scale it's even stronger. So matter of fact, I'm finna get into this article so we can show y'all the direction we going. Yeah, peace and
Shantae,
love to
it's
the
good to see
gods.
you, baby girl. Always good to see you. Hold me the cloud. That's my
Yeah,
boy. Good to have you here,
that's
Sir
what's up.
D. I ain't seen you in a bit. It's great having you here. Thank you for joining us. I hope you like the show. And everybody else, I appreciate you for being here. I see you, Musicland HQ82. Will I am. I see you as well. Thank you for joining us. It's always good to have the regulars show up and show support. You know, when they see us go live. I take that into consideration, and I appreciate that greatly. But go ahead, brother. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you start the reading off for the people. And shalom to the brother Scott Davis and sister Charbay, all of y'all. We appreciate Aisha H. All y'all, already know Kate. Oh, sister Kai in the building. All y'all. Peace, peace, peace.
Peace and love. Peace and love. All right. So first off, we have who's Justia, U.S. law, consent searches. It says the right of people to be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. You still there, Brother Calico?
Hey, see, that's my bad. I gotta remember that I'm on mute. But yeah, I say this has to do with, like, let's say a warrant. If the police were to come to your home with a warrant, so called, this is how we know if it's real or not. Not only do we want to see the judge's signature, being that he signed his oath of office to it, but it has to say exactly like this says. Hold on. It says, and no warrant shall issue shall be issued, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation. It's affirmed, by the oath of the judge. What I'm saying, and particularly, or whoever the confidential informant, whatever it may be, supported by oath, and particularly describing the place to be searched. So the warrant would have to say exactly where they want to search. It's like saying you can't be saying you're looking for a human and you want to look in between my mattress. Like you want to open up my drawer, my dresser drawer, like you want to look at my medicine cabinet and you looking for a whole human, like things like that. We got to understand. Then it's saying that, the particular place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. So, it ain't no free for all, like like we've seen a lot throughout our times. But I'm gonna continue. You want to give them a little bit of right here where it says consent searches?
Yeah. Uh, it says consent searches. Fourth Amendment rights, like other constitutional rights, may be waived, and one may consent to a search of this person or premises by officers who have not complied with the amendment. The court, however, has insisted that the burden is on the prosecution to prove voluntariness of consent and awareness of the right of choice. Reviewing courts must determine on the basis of the totality of the circumstances whether consent has been freely given or has been coerced. Actual knowledge of the right to refuse consent is not essential for each search to be found voluntary, and police, therefore, are not required to inform a person of his rights. You better know your rights because they ain't got to tell you nothing. As through a Fourth Amendment version of the Miranda warnings. That's your Miranda rights that they read you. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. All those. But consent will be regarded as voluntary when the officer asserts his official status and claim of right, and the occupation yields because of these factors. When consent is obtained through the deception of an undercover officer of an informed gaming admission without advising a suspect who he is, the court has held that the suspect has simply assumed the risk that an invitee would betray him, and evidence obtained through the deception is admissible. Moreover, while the court has appeared to endorse implied consent,
I was gonna say I know you like that, but as far as like you don't have to give consent, and when consent is obtained through the deception, huh? This is what we mean by threat, duress, and coercion. You feel me? Like your paperwork ain't right, Mr. Officer. I know you got a badge. I know you're a detective or whatever. I know you got a big gun. You got your crew with you. Bro, your paperwork ain't right. And even if I do let you search, that was only through coercion. You feel me? You coerced me, man. Like I felt threatened. I was yes, because you telling me like you're gonna bam the door, bust the glass, you're gonna do whatever. You're willing to break the law because you don't have the paperwork to go about the law correctly, officer. So when consent is obtained through the deception of an undercover officer on informers gaining admission, or an informer. Damn, getting his admission without advising a suspect who he is. The court has held that the suspect has simply assumed the risk that an invitee would betray him. He's like, man, this could be a robber, man. Hold on, hell no. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It don't matter if you said you officer, whoever you are, Dan, and evidence obtained through the deception. Oh, okay. And evidence obtained through the deception is admissible. Moreover, while the court has appeared to endorse implied consent laws that view individuals who engage in certain regulated activities as having implicitly agreed to certain searches related to that activity. Okay, this is about implied consent. Because
Once
sometimes people, if you
we-
imply consent,
right,
like
we're
it
gonna
says right
we're
here.
gonna talk about all this in a few more in detail,
Yep.
and we're gonna go into the actual Black Laws Dictionary, and we gonna find out the different forms of consent according to the law. All right. Let's remember, this is not a law book. All right. This is the first edition or whatever. This ain't a law book. This is a law dictionary. This is gonna tell you what a word means lawfully, because there's a difference between legalese and English. They sound the same, they're spelled the same, but they're not the same thing. And for those that are not aware, if you could share my screen real quick before we go any further, brother Calico. I just want to show the people something real quick. uh no, my screen, I'm sharing. There you go. For those that find themselves having to sign something under duress and coerced into signing something, know that there is a way that you could sign and imply that you're being forced into this. All right. And what you do is you write the letters V dot C dot. You got to write it exactly like that, not VC and that's it. No, it's got to be V dot C dot. What does it mean? It means V coactus is issued with a signature to indicate that the signer was under duress. The signer uses such marking to signal that the agreement was made under duress, and that it is their belief that it invalidates their signature. So if you're forced into sign something, say a traffic ticket, just per se. I'm not saying that this is going to help you, beat the court, the case at court, but it will help you make the case that the only reason why you signed this was because you were forced into it, not because you agreed to anything that this paper states. But when we're talking about coercion, being forced into signing something or putting your name in something, please remember this, everybody out there. V as in Victor dot C dot. All right. I've done it plenty of times, and the people that I've done it with, they don't like that you do that, but they can. There's nothing they could do. There's nothing they could do.
And
But go ahead,
and
brother.
and the Moors, we like we'll do like U dot T dot D dot C. You know what I'm saying? Dot, because under threat, duress, under threat, duress, and coercion. Like sometimes we'll write it all the way out. Because basically what you're speaking on is called undersigning. Like all we know about is signing on the line. Well, below that line is where you're supposed to undersign. Sign is like a note to anything you may sign. Because if you don't protect your white rights, then they're considered waived. This is what they mean by implied consent. You feel me? Matter of fact, I'm gonna go back to this so we can get back to the other one too, because we ain't it's long, but we're gonna hear hard while we here. Hold on. Bam. All right. Hey, can you see that, brother? Right there where it say implied consent at the top.
Yep.
Go ahead.
The implied consent doctrine does not extend so far as to deem individuals to have implied consent to a search on pain of committing criminal offense. Additional issues arise determining the validity of consent to searches when consent is given not by the subject, but by a third party. In the earlier cases, third party consent was deemed sufficient if that party possessed common authority over or other sufficient relationship to the premises or effects sought to be inspected, per se, like a landlord, I would assume, or whatever, and you're renting their property out. Now, however, actual common authority over the premises is not required. It is sufficient if the searching officer had a reasonable but mistaken belief that the third party had common authority and could consent to the search. If, however, one occupant consents to a search of shared premises, but a physical present occupant expressively objects to the search is unreasonable. Unreasonable. Common social expectations inform the analysis. A person at the threshold of the residence could not confidently conclude he was welcome to enter over the express objection of a present co-tenant. Expectations may change, however, if the objecting co-tenant leaves or is removed from the premises with no prospect of imminent return.
Hold on. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of different case law that anybody could definitely look into. Like, let's say, Schneckluff versus Bustamante, uh, put it like the Ohio versus Robinette. This is 96. Officer need not always inform a detained motorist that he is free to go before consent to search auto may be deemed voluntary. Mhm. See how they trick you. United States versus Drayton in 2002. The totality of circumstances indicated that bus passenger consented to search even though officer did not explicitly state that passenger was free to refuse permission. Like, because they're going to show you in some of these case laws, it's going to show you how the Supreme Court deemed that, officers, number one, they're not required to teach you your rights. They're not required to do that, you know. So that's why they say if you don't, knowledge is power. So if you don't know, then you have no power. You feel me? You have no knowledge, you have no power. But on Lee versus United States, Lopez versus United States, many cases. Uh, all the way from 1966 and 1952 and 1971. This old school. But prior judicial approval obtained before wired informer sent into defendant's presence. Problems may be encountered by police. However, in special circumstances, or however, problems may be encountered by police. However, in special circumstances. Boom. See Messiah versus United States versus Henry. Boom. Installation of beeper with the consent of informer whose sole container with beeper to suspect is permissible. But it get deep. And this is just really useful with a lot of things that's happening nowadays, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of things going on that y'all are giving consent to happen. That's why even Kanye told y'all slavery was a choice, you know, because you can consent to be in that, because number one, our people don't even know they have rights all the time. People think everything is based off of a license, which is a privilege. There's nothing that we are really allowed to do. Man, we can't just do that. But the Constitution says we can. And it's a supreme law of the land. So I don't understand if people think they're floating on water or something. Because this ain't the water. This is the land. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Do we really need to learn anything else? I don't think so. You feel me? And hey brother, you got that other article that we were gonna show 'em?
Yeah. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, yeah. I have to do is just share my screen.
Am I okay, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Now, what we're gonna look into right here is I'm gonna try to show you guys something as well. Um, not sure if it's gonna allow me to. Um, but give me one quick second. I'm just searching for something real fast. And all right, but this is this is this is a document from the World Health Organization, as you have seen it. There's a reason why we're speaking on consent right now, and the reason why, the main reason why I wanted to speak and touch on this was because of certain situations that are taking place right now, and I want us to be able to understand certain situations that are about to arise, and if we're not ready for them, we're gonna fall under it. Now remember that, there is something being pushed on us right now, and I am not going to be naming that, by the name, but I'm gonna probably call it the V or anything like that, because the last thing we want is, is to get censored over, over speaking a damn word. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, it's the vacation. If they could understand that.
right, right. We could say vacation. All right,
Yeah, because
but
many people have taken that vacation.
right. So when you hear us speaking in regards about vacation, you're gonna understand what it is that we're talking about. We're not talking about an actual vacation. We're talking about the vacation that's being pushed on us. All right. So just keep it in code per se. All right. So the World Health Organization just came up recently with a new definition of what consent is, especially when it comes to children. All right, especially between the ages of 6 to 17. Now, um, can you see the other whatchamacallit that I have right there? That's my cell phone. You see it on the at the bottom, brother Calico. I
I-
think.
Is that it? Did I click it?
No, 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 no. Yeah, no, no. You're on the right place. I'm talking about there's a third person trying to come in, but
Yeah, I
it's.
let it in. You don't see it on the screen? It's on the
Oh
screen.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, all right. So I wanted to show you guys something real quick, if it allows me to. Um, we're gonna go here. And, hmm, I don't think it. Can you? Yeah. So this is the Black Laws Dictionary for anybody that's wondering what it is that I'm showing you guys. All right, this is the 13th edition, and when we look at the word consent, it tells us it's a voluntary yielding to what another proposes or desires. All right. Listen, a voluntary yielding. If you don't know what yield means, that means that you allow something to happen. Uh, 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 Before you. You put yourself second. So a voluntary yielding to what another proposes or desires, an agreement, approval, or a permission regarding some act or purpose, given voluntarily by an affirmative defense to assault, battery, and related torts. All right. Now there's three different types of consent. All right. The three different types of consent they have is you have affirmative consent, you got blank consent, express consent, implied consent. All right. We're going to talk a lot about implied consent right today, because I need you guys to know what implied consent could do to you if you don't know about it. All right. And we also have what everybody knows, informed consent. All right. Which is a person agreement to allow something to happen, made with full knowledge of the risk involved and the alternatives. All right. When it comes to implied consent, it tells you that it's consent inferred. That's the key word, inferred from one's conduct. All right. So it's because of something you do rather than from one's direct expression. So because of something that you did, you gave consent to something. If you break into a house, you immediately you didn't have to ask for it, but you already breaking and entering. So because of that, you are now have given consent that if an authority figure show up, they get to tackle you down, arrest you, and put you in jail and all of that. They don't need your permission to ask you, well, listen, can we take you? No, it's gonna be that. So we're gonna look into those from the 13th edition, 11th edition, I'm sorry, of the Black Laws Dictionary. But with that said, let's look at the share screen, brother Calico. Where did where did Calico go? Did we lose brother Calico? I think we. Oh no, there he goes. He's mute. I think you're muted, brother. No, there we go. So in this new thing that the World Health Organization um has approved as the new definition, we will see that the reason why this was presented was because of the fact that there's vacations being imposed on children right now. There's children from a certain age that have been granted authority by, places like the CDC, the FDA, and all that other stuff. They have approved giving these children between the ages of 6 and 17 a vacation. All they require is the consent. All right, we're not gonna read the whole thing because it is 8 pages, but uh, I'm gonna read you the introduction since it's pretty. Let's read the first page just because of what it is. It says exactly. All right. Now it says around the world, immunization programs are increasingly including in their natural immunization schedules. Vacations that target age groups beyond infancy and early childhood. This document is aimed at programming managers who are planning to introduce vacations for older children and adolescents aged between 6 and 17 years. It provides information that should be considered when preparing guidance notes on the consent process or for clarification questions from health workers who provide the vacations. The document is all the more important because this population group may present for vacations with an accompanying parent or legal guardian. All right, let's remember we're talking about our children here. All right, and our children are the ones that are gonna hold it down when we gone. This place, whatever you raise your child to be, he gonna be the one that once you gonna hold it down. All right. Now it says the principles of consent and assent. Consent is the principle wherein individuals must give their permission before receiving a medical intervention or procedure. According to the laws and regulations in place in most countries, consent is required for a range of medical interventions or procedures, from simple blood tests to organ donations and including vacations. In only very few well described circumstances, such as life threatening emergencies, may consent be waived. So if you're dying, all right, if you're dying, and the only way for them to save you is to say do a blood transfusion, you know, there is the possibility that the doctor, if they do not find a family member in time, or if you or do not respond where you're incapable of speaking, or you cannot rationalize what is being told to you or whatever, the doctor could make the decision to be like, well, you know what, we're gonna give him a blood transfusion, and that might actually be against your
But
religious
but
beliefs
but
or whatever, huh?
yeah, but sticking to, you know, the what the show is about. All that is about what consent. You feel
Right.
me? In these different levels, like implied consent. It's
Mm-hmm.
like saying you walked in my office, so you already then gave me enough consent to do that. You know, just like when the judge say how once you enter the courtroom, you have the judge's mercy because you given him consent,
Right.
so to speak.
Right. Now, the other one would be, so that's pretty much consent, right? The other one, when it comes to children, is assent. All right. Now, assent refers to the process of children's and adolescents' participation in the decision making on vacations or other medical interventions. So, meaning that they don't have to ask you as a parent, because there is such a thing as assent. All right. Assent is not regulated in law like consent, and is sometimes referred to as a moral obligation closely linked to good practice in dealing with patients. International law provides strong support for children's right to participate in decisions about their health and healthcare, and also in the planning and provision of health services relevant to them and based on their evolving capacity. All right. So there is such a thing as as your child making the decision or being a part of the
Hey,
decision
hey,
making.
watch this. I, I probably should have gave this show two names. I do not consent and I do not assent. You know, because I don't do that either. You know what I mean? They got me bent. I ain't with that. Assent refers to the process of children and adolescents, children participating in the decision making of
Mhm.
vac. Of, anyway, assent is not regulated in law like consent.
Right,
Oh, you can't regulate this. Oh, I got the cheat code for y'all. Y'all want to say I do not consent? I got a cheat code because you gonna assent. You got me bent, and it's sometimes referred to as a moral obligation. Like you have to wash your hands. Like they trying to act like it's just as simple as that. And also in the planning and provisions. Yeah, man.
right.
Go ahead and
So
scroll some more.
right. So now that we have that, I want to point something out real quick. Sister Sherbet made a comment, and I'm gonna utilize that comment a little later on, just to make my case of what it is that is about to happen to our children if we're not
I
careful.
mean, let's just say the world. Let's just say the world because they're gonna
Right,
blame
right.
us like
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
we're
You're
going too far. But
right.
it's everybody.
They didn't,
It's not no old person that's excluded from this. No
right. They didn't
young, no baby,
worldwide. I
no
agree.
man, woman, and child. It's
Right.
nobody that's not excluded.
Right. Well, Sister Charbet said that they have been giving vacations to students without the consent of the parents since she was a little girl. I remember getting one in elementary school. I'm glad she mentioned that because we're going to go into that right now. Now, here it says the legal age of consent in most countries, legal systems, the legal age of consent tends to coincide with the age of majority, which is 18 years in most countries. It follows, therefore, that a child or adolescent in the age group of 6 to 17 years cannot provide consent to vacations, and so consent is normally required from their parent or legal guardian. Normally, not always, but normally. In a growing number of countries, the age of consent for medical interventions is set below the age of majority. This allows adolescents to provide consent for specific interventions such as access to contraceptives or HIV testing. Some countries have fixed the age of consent specifically to allow HPV vacations at 12 years old. All right. If you don't know what that one is, that is the one that they're giving mainly women. They give it to boys as well, but it's mainly women to prevent. And let me get off my camera so I could do my quotation marks, to prevent ovarian cancer. All right. To prevent, not that they will stop it, but to prevent it from happening. All right. So that's for the HPV vacation that they give you, that they give girls at 12 years old. All right. Be very aware. Do not, do not get that vacation. All right. But for your child at 12 years old, if you have a teenager or whatever. But I am not no medical expert. That is not no medical advice. That's just my personal opinion, and I am not telling you that you should or should not do that. It's just my personal preference. But we're not going to talk about common approaches for obtaining consent for a vacation. Oh no, actually we are. This is the part that I wanted to specifically touch base on. It says common approaches for obtaining consent for vacations. All right. So to take these kids on this vacation, there is a formal way that these schools, that is
Hey, hey,
go ahead.
hey, scroll up so that so that part can get off the screen. But we already know. I just know how they want to cry. Now just scroll up
Oh,
more.
I
Right,
see what
right
you're
there.
saying.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're
But
saying.
what they say, current practice of obtaining informed consent vary among countries, but can be broadly categorized into three approaches:
Three approaches. All right.
written, verbal, and implied. As far
Right.
consent, written consent, verbal consent, implied consent. Like if people are actually taking notes, this is what you write down. You write down no one, two, three. Written consent, verbal consent, implied consent. Because I'm gonna imply that I do not consent. I am gonna verbally state I do not consent. I will write. I will make an affidavit. I will do whatever and let them know in a formal way that I do not consent.
Right.
But
Well,
will you? You know?
right. Now, the first one is very, 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 very common. We all know is the formal written consent, which is particularly in the middle and high income countries that have higher percentage of literacy populations and a longer history of providing vacations to older age groups. Vacations of this target group may be delivered through school health services. It's very, 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 very common. We all know is the formal written consent, which is particularly in the middle and high income countries that have higher percentage of literacy populations. What was that? Oh, that's sister. I can't see the
Yep,
name.
the Empress Yasini in the house.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you gotta let the people know that the Empress is in the building. Go ahead
But now she getting her camera. I mean, her
oh, okay, okay.
well,
Well,
StreamYard act look like an acting up basically. But
okay,
go ahead, can finish.
right. So we know this formal written consent, which is pretty much, they send you a letter. It says health authorities inform the parents about the vacations, and written consent from the parent is required to opt in. Give permission to an older child adolescent for the vacation. Alternatively, a written form is used to allow parents to express non-consent or refusal to a vacation for their child. This is known as an opt-out procedure. All right. So this is the formal one. They send you a sheet, and you make sure you send it back, and you no, I do not, I do not consent for this vacation to take place, or nothing of that of that thing. But we know that one, formal written consent. This is the one that they practice at hospital, even with grown folks. If you're about to get a procedure done, can you sign here? Because we need to make sure that you agree that that you're about to have this procedure, right? But then there's also two, verbal consent process. It says, whereby consent is given verbally by the parent after being duly informed about the vacation. However, this approach can only be used when parents accompany the child to the vacation. All right. So, verbal consent can only be given when they are accompanying the person. All right. So, those two are pretty common. Number three is the one that we need to be aware of. All right. And it says an implied consent process by which parents are informed of imminent vacations through social mobilization and communication, sometimes including letters directly addressed to the parents. All right. So they tell you that there's going to be a vacation. They send you a letter, through, whether it be through social media, or they send an email, or something, but they let you know that there's going to be a mobile health thing that's going to come to the facility, to the home, and they're going to provide this vacations. They let you know this. They says subsequently, the physical presence, please listen, family, please listen. It says subsequently, the physical presence of the child or adolescent with or without an accompanying parent at the vacation session is considered to imply consent. If they
Hey,
send you a
hey,
letter, family,
if you notice it makes sense just by skipping. When you skip that word, it still makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like accompanying, like without an accompanying parent at the session, is considered to imply consent.
right?
You know what I mean?
This means and this implies, listen well, family. This implies that if they send you a letter in the mail, or if they send you an email or anything, and they let you know, hey, listen, on Friday, all the kids are gonna have, this health facility come, and they're all gonna get a vacation, or whatever. And you even send a letter to them and tell them, I do not consent, I do not do, no, 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 and you tell them all these no's and all this everything, but you still send your kids to school on that day. The fact that they physical
No,
presence,
that is consent. That's brother.
that is
Tell them exactly which one of the three that is.
the what you talking about?
Which form of consent is that? Because that is consent. What kind of
That is the
consent?
implied consent.
Yes,
That is
exactly.
implied consent. If you send your children to school, even though you said no, let me finish so you can see. It says this practice is based on the opt out principle, and parents who do not consent to the vacation are expected implicitly to take steps to ensure that their child or adolescent does not participate in the vacation session. This
Hey,
may
hey. See, I'm comparing it to baseball, first, second, and third base, right? Because that's all that really matters. Because if you don't cover those three bases, then they're gonna score a run. They're gonna get a home run probably. You know what I mean? Like we gotta do better. We gotta cover all three bases, and not just one in 2022. We gotta always do that. Not just this one situation. Everything. You feel me? You got to be careful what you consent to. Like
right.
how
So
everybody
whether it
around here
be
with all this,
verbally, whether
like,
it
hey,
be
bro, I don't know if they're doing this in your city, but people at every gas station and everything, boards trying to get people to sign up. Hey, do you vote? Can you vote?
yeah.
Can you get you to sign this? I ain't signing shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Hey, bro, you trying to get me to do written consent? Hey, but we got the sister in the building. Let her introduce herself.
Peace and love. Yasini is in the house with my two favorite people, Tazz and Calico. Sorry I'm late.
No, I appreciate you being here, sister. Great, always good to see
Yep.
you.
Peace and love to you, Tazz, and to you, Calico.
Peace and
And
love.
Yes, ma'am.
to all the subscribers that I'm seeing, Charbay, Music Land, Morris Master Teachers, all of y'all. Peace and love from Yasini.
Fact. So, you know,
Central
um,
topic too.
what do you make out of this, sister? I mean, if you send your child to school on vacation day, that is considered implied consent, that you are allowing for your children to go through this experiment. That is implied consent. How does that work out, sister?
If they were forewarned, To me, it seemed like it may just very well be implied, and considering that we're dealing with like a population where 85% just wants to do whatever the government tells them to do or whatever the system tells them to do. They should know that they have choices. And if I had a child at school age and I know they were giving out vacations on that
Hey,
day,
watch this,
would be
because I want to cover all bases. If they would have, knock on your door, with a badge on, well, without the right paperwork, are you gonna let them come in and search? Are you gonna give them consent? Is what I'm saying, because this is what
no, I'm
it
not. I'm
boils
not
down
even
to.
going to answer the door. I'm not
Yeah,
even answering the door.
that's how I'm gonna try to avoid the WHO and the CDEs and all all them alphabet boys. You feel me? Since I'm trying to dodge them, I gotta point at all of the situations that you gotta know how to consent or do not consent. Because I think people think they have to. Like people don't. I don't understand what's wrong. Like people don't understand rights. You know, it's not like
Right.
you know maybe. Like I can understand if it was called left, because I don't know what left would mean other than left. Right means more than more than just that side of your body. You feel me? So
Right.
man, these
Do
people,
you
man.
do you see what they're, since you mentioned it, brother? Do you see what they're doing in Houston, Texas?
Hmm. No,
What are they
in
doing?
Texas.
What are they doing?
But this one ain't showing the. There you go. This is the one.
Uh, Shout out to S. Marshall L. Jeremiah Rosborough, everybody. Peace and love.
Houston Health Department. Houston Health Department. Oh. I'm in Metro. Houston Health Department. How you doing today? Houston Health Department. We go around the community informing everyone they can get their vaccine for the coronavirus. Have you been vaccinated? May I ask, which one did you get? How many people in your house got vaccinated? All right, thank you. You want me to leave some information at your door, or that'll be fine? Okay, I'll leave it right here at the door, all right?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, like
They going door to
they,
door
they stuff
asking
they stuff like that. I just want to play the audio. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how they be hating. You know what I'm saying? So, cause but the only good thing about it, they won't take the whole video down by that. They'll just make me clip that part out. If they find something wrong with it, you know how they hoes, man. You already know.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, hey, you gotta take these 30 seconds out of that video, or the whole video must go down. I'll be like, all right, damn, I gotta take them 30 seconds out. You know what I mean? Hey, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
I ain't gonna lie, like we could have still played the audio. I think they would. They understand. They believe us. They understand. And then we trying to get them to understand consent on every level. Cause you know, either you gonna do it all or you gonna do it all. You feel me? Like either
mhm,
you gonna let them do whatever they want to you, or you gonna say you do not consent to everything. Or you gonna either consent to everything. Oh yeah, you want to search? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can search. Oh, you want to come in? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can come in. Oh, you want to poke me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can poke me. You know what I mean? Like, yes, sir. Yes. What the hell? You have the right to say no, man. That's what we're getting down to. Even in the streets, man. People act like a lot of times that's the worst thing you can say to them. I didn't even know I still had it on that. Oh, let me see.
to think for themselves.
Can we say
like the word no? People really hate the word no. Like if somebody would ask you for something and you be like, no, they're like, that's the worst thing you just said. Like what? You know, like people like they never heard that such a simple answer. No, you know, no. You like no hurt so bad. I'd be like, gosh, dang, man, like you might have to hurt somebody off just using the word no, and it goes for them too. So don't be scared. You know, and that's where the coercion comes in because the guy does have a gun on him or the girl, whoever they may be. You know, 9 times out of 10, when we're dealing with the authorities, they have a weapon on them. So it's like, hold on, I'm scared to tell him no. You know, hey, but you got
why can't we say, hey, why can't we say what's in it? No,
I mean,
when they do that, when they come with their needles.
But when you say that, even when you say that, to me, like the psychological examination I get from that when somebody says what's in it, it shows that you care. You know what I mean? I don't care. You know what I mean?
But my
I don't
deal
care.
is
I don't care if it's water.
They don't have an answer. They don't have an answer for what's in it because they can't tell us that.
I mean, that's why I'm talking about consent on all levels. I don't want to swim on that because we ain't got no supporters on here. We gotta have the jab supporters in order to goddamn really focus in on that. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's all about consent. And if I bring up any situation of consent and they pretty much disagree, then 99 out of 100 times, I'm pretty sure they disagree when it comes to this situation. It's no different. If you consent, you're gonna keep consenting.
No,
you know, I don't know many people that.
Not in the difference form, but in the form of always asking questions. Which is why we're in this predicament in the first place because we don't question things. So, and a lot of times when you do question things and people don't have answers, they're the ones who run, not the person sitting there asking them the question. The other person runs because they don't have answers for this kind of stuff, which is, reminiscence of the days of old and how we even came in to be in the situation that we're in today by not questioning shit. Yeah, question them and they will run, is what I'm saying.
I mean,
don't question them.
I mean, you gotta.
You're stuck stupid.
I mean, like I'm gonna put it like this. It's just like how Dr. John Henry Clark said. He said, "You profess your ignorance through your questioning." You know what I'm saying? So a person, it's like I always say, you never know what a person know upstairs until they open their mouth. So they don't even know how dumb we are or not until we start questioning. You know what I mean? That's why we have the right to remain silent. We have the right to remain silent. So basically, we have the right to shield what we do know and don't know. Protect ourselves from these villains. Because like they tell you, anything you say can. Not only can, but it will be used against you.
Yeah.
And that means in the court of law, that's the worst place it could be used against you. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But this ain't court. This is something you're trying to inject into my body. What's in it?
I mean, look. If you're gonna do one, you're gonna do the other. If you're gonna fall for the court scheme, then it's gonna go to that. They'll take it to that level to kick your butt if they have to, and to stick that up you. Because like obviously you're not gonna. If people are not gonna fight them on a court level, even if it's just so-called traffic ticket. If they were wrong, they didn't have probable cause, they don't have consent, this and that, da 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 da. You have to stand up for yourselves. You have to stand up. And you got to know that, boom, based off the fact that I did not consent. Because I did this as a black person, like I tell you. It's before being nationalized, being a Moor. It's things that we got to know that we can do, period. You know what I'm saying? You're a breathing, fleshly being. So it's like, Who are you to tell me I don't have rights? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm willing to fight when somebody try to tell me something like that, you know, or like, because basically you're gonna have to show me I got no right. Show me I can't do what I'm saying, or show me I can't talk. Show me I can't leave right now. Oh, y'all ain't gonna let me leave? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hell. It's gonna be hell. That's just how life is. Ain't nobody gonna play with, you know what I'm saying, play with a real one like that. I got rights. So I'm gonna, you know, exercise all my rights. That's period. You know, and that's what our people gotta kind of pick up regardless. Then they'll just walk the straight and narrow. We won't have to tell them about nothing, you know, medically, you know, educationally. They'll already be doing the right thing without even having all the knowledge. They'll be like, you know what? I don't even play them games. You know what I mean? For real.
All right.
Yeah, we got to cover all three of them bases though. Verbal, written, and implied.
That
You know,
implied is
implied is that tricky one. You know, that's the trickiest one. You know, that's where the coercion comes in at.
right.
Yep. All hidden under the word mandate that they done changed so many times.
Yep.
Mandate, implied, all their little code words. That's what we need to know. The language that they're speaking.
No,
in
watch
code.
this. See, like I say, sticking to do not consent. When they pull you over, or if they knock on your door, they ask you, "Do you mind if I XYZ?" You know what I'm saying? If I search, if I come in, do you mind if I? You know, they're going to ask you. If they had the right, they would not ask. If they had the right to do it, they wouldn't be asking you. This is where your consent comes in. And you feel like you pressured to answer that. You know, at all, you know, at the very least, you never have to say anything. But you do have to say, even then, they made it a law where you can't just be quiet, because that's a form of implied consent. Because we talking about acquiescing, ain't we, Tazz?
Right.
If you just sit there and be quiet, that's acquiescing. So they made it a law where you can't just be quiet. You have to state for the record that you are exercising your right to remain silent. Like, gosh damn, they're making it hard on the ignorant. You feel me? If you didn't know the old law, you definitely don't know the new law. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like, so, you know, I'm just trying to wake them up, because they consent to everything that they don't have to. You know?
Yeah, and always have.
Yeah. That's why I'm not focusing even on the future. I'm taking them back to the times they messed up already. You know, being mistreated, being pushed around. You got pushed around like that, bro. Hey, now you know better. You know? So now I don't even have to tell you, look behind your back, because you already know what's going on right now on the TV and around the world. But what about what you've been messed up? Like, how many times y'all done stumbled already? And, you know, people think it's just easy. Go ahead and pay them, man. I just rather pay them. Man, man, every time you pay, you implying consent for the next time and the next time. Like, you know, for the future. For future reference, you have implied consent. You know, they know you a lay down Dave. You know, that's what we call it. You know? So ain't no laying down. It's time to stand up. Like Moore say, we stand on our square.
Facts.
So I was watching this. Hold on. I was watching this video today where this chick was trying to explain what a mandate is, because if you look it up in all the different definitions and dictionaries, you know how they cover their shit up, right? This bride, I'm gonna have to go back and look and see what her reference was, but she was saying a mandate is not even enforced until the other person, the mandee or whatever, does it, and that what completes it and made it the mandate. All you have to do is say
no. It's deep. It's deep. For one, uh, just being a U.S. citizen implies so much consent, so much, so much, so much. You know, and signing certain applications unknowingly, unknowingly. You know,
If
Yep.
we're, if we're
it could be
according,
an app. It could be an app that you done signed up for. You know what I mean? That's the games they
Yeah.
play.
right.
They're like, hey, didn't you sign this? You know, I'm like,
Yep.
hey, man, get out my face, man. I know, no, hell
Yep.
no. You know,
They
so
know they know that we didn't read it before we signed it.
yeah, and then so many people have tried to be, man. Like I say, it's just consent on so many levels. Like I can't focus solely on that, but it's definitely all of that
Right
is
now,
one of the bases they
if
got to
we
cover.
to add to what Sister Denise was speaking in regards about, according this ain't me the one, whatever, but according to the Black Laws Dictionary, mandate comes from the word mandamus, which means we command. All right. So when they do a mandate, they're commanding you to do something. They're literally telling you, and it says mandate an order from an appellate court directing a lower court to take a specified action, also termed as order. See mandamus, a judicial command directed to an officer of the court to enforce a court order. In politics, the electorate's overwhelming show of approval for a given political candidate or platform. Roman and civil law, a written command given by a principal to an agent, specifically a commission or contract by which one person, the mandator, requests someone, the mandatory, to perform some service gratuitously. The commission becomes effective when the mandatory agrees, which is what Sister Denise was stating, that in order for the mandate to work, is you have to agree to it.
Exactly.
That's from the LA Civil Code Art
And,
2989. It says in this
and
type of
it's three different ways you can agree.
right,
You know
and
what I
there's
mean?
three different ways that you could agree. You could agree verbally, written, or implied. All
Yeah.
right,
And guess what they're gonna
Yeah.
make you do? When you sign your signature, that was the written.
right.
When they ask you, uh, how was that, or uh, when they ask you anything about it before or after, that's the verbal, and you already know the implied was the fact that you came in here and was smiling when I asked you, do you want a free one? Hey, you looking like, I don't know. But hey, let me walk you over here right quick, buddy, and strap your arm up, man, because you look like you're ready to go, man. Hey, okay. You're like, yeah, I got you. I'm just saying, but it's deeper than that on so many levels. Like it's beyond that. Like people getting
It
kidnapped
is.
every day.
But
Like we don't call getting arrested that. We call it being kidnapped because in most cases there was no victim. If there's no victim, there's no crime. So you are being kidnapped. But what I'm getting at, uh, like all that's a part of consent. Like people are getting kidnapped because they are consenting. Basically that's where the saying comes from. Like, like two people are considered two consenting adults. You feel me? Like we are literally, of age to consent, but we are not of mind. We're not of thinking. We're not of knowledge. We don't have the power upstairs to be able to truly consent. That's why they still consider us minorities. And that alone is gonna make your consent be implied. They already like he's a minor. Yeah. He's childlike in the mind.
yeah,
Whether he knows it or not, we treat him like an adult, but he's actually just a child. So they treat us like minors, and they've labeled us that, and we so foolish. We agree, not me. I'm just saying we, because you look like me. You know, like I wish my people would wake up. For real.
and so we might agree with shit because we know what happened in the past. Like sometimes, if you don't comply, you know, okay, there's a Bible in his hand and a gun in his hand. Pick one. We know eventually, they're giving us the choice, but those of us who know history already know what they'll go through to get their way. So some of us are just scary through our DNA, just scared and just do shit because they said, you know.
Right.
But if we was all to get together and fight this and even beat this, then what's coming after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, okay, if somebody gets pulled over and they say your tent is too dark. Your tent is too dark, and I want to. Do you mind if I search? Like, do you have any weapons in the car? No. Okay. Do you
And
mind?
that's the
Do,
thing.
do you mind if I search? No, sir. Like now, come on, man. Like that's just as weak as getting your arm wrapped up.
Yeah.
Put it like
And
this.
if
This
you,
happened to all of us. So I'm not trying to call all of us, oh, we super weak. No, same thing go with the medical thing we talking about. All of us have had that as a child or whatever, but not the same, not the same junk of today. What I'm saying is we all, done had that. So we've all been stopped by them on the side of the road and been harassed, maybe even kidnapped. And we
right.
didn't, we didn't stand on our square because we had no knowledge. Well, that was then. This is now.
Right.
Time to stand up. Don't don't be a jerk on the side of the road with them, but definitely know what you're doing and don't consent. And when all fails, stand on that even to the day you go into court and you put it in writing. You know what I'm saying? And you watch them fold, and you be like, "Dang, what the heck?" And they were like, "Yeah, get him out of here." Because I've been there, and I did that as a black person.
Right.
Before I knew about nationality, you got to have some sense, though. You got to know what you're doing a little bit, and and that means from the beginning. You don't have to be a lawyer, but in the beginning, you had to make the right step to say, "I do not consent."
Right. And just as a form of reference to the community out there, just be aware. All right. Be aware that again, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you information. You do what you want with it. But in the whole 50 states, in the whole union of the United States of America, it is only, I think, 13 or 14 states that actually mandate that when you get pulled over, if the cop asks you, "Do you have any weapons on the car?" you actually have to tell them. In 85% of the states within the United States, when they ask you if you have any weapons in the car, you ain't got to tell them shit. But the minute you do tell them that you do have a weapon, you done fucked up. Or if you tell them you don't have a weapon, you done fucked up because you opened the door. You told them something that you didn't have to tell them. Now they know that you complied. You understand. If you look up the etymology, or even in a lawful book, if you look in the Black Laws Dictionary,
Yeah,
the word understand, when the court tells you, "Do you understand, Mr. Calico?"
yeah.
That
It
means
means
that
exactly that.
do you stand under
Under.
the court of law,
Yeah.
that they what they're telling you is law, and you stand under it. You ain't above
Exactly.
it. You ain't right next to it. You ain't friends with it. No, you stand under it. You understand.
Most definitely. That's most definitely. See, now those are at least two of the things I definitely knew over 10 years ago. Because I've been a Moor for 10 years. So
Yeah, you don't. In
I
most
mean,
states,
like consciously. Because I've been on the knowledge and all that way longer than that. What I'm saying is, as a black man, I knew that. I didn't help the other brothers that really stood up with the "I don't understand." Like they didn't even know about the "I don't consent." They just know they don't have to let them search, and they be like, "Hey, no, hey, Matter of fact, no, those two things he picked up from me. He did realize that he don't have to consent to a search, and he kept telling them, I don't understand. I know they'll probably hate this video. If they take it down, they won't even be by none of the medical thing. It'll be because of these points. I'm telling you. But I do not understand. You know, it pissed the officer off so bad because he was like, you know, he's trying to coerce you and stop acting like a jerk in his book because he's trying to treat you like a normal, stupid person because he don't have to teach you your rights. You feel me? So, you know, man, you already know where it go, how that go. You know, I do not consent. I do not understand. And you have to make them understand, you know, because you have to understand the Constitution. That's what you need to stand under. Because that's like saying that's what you need to stand on. That need to be your square. There need to be enough knowledge for you to do right. Now, you know, if you putting on the ski mask and you know, looking for a lick and you doing harm to people out here, then you can't stand on none of this. You might well not worry about no Constitution, no nothing. But if you're not gonna harm a person, you're not gonna harm a soul, you're not gonna victimize people, then you all good. Stand on what's right. Stand on the Constitution and make them, you know, because they the criminals. They being criminals right now. And we letting them get away with it. And we the only ones that was actually doing right to start with. You feel me? We ain't hurt nobody.
That's what puts you under a state of being under their control, you know. And once you realize that, not once you realize, once they realize that you are not competent enough to understand the or comprehend the system that's in front of you, they know that they could take advantage of that. And you know, ignorance is bliss, you know. And he who doesn't know something, you know, that's going to be used against them somehow, some way, you know. If it's in a game, if you're playing a game and you do not know all the rules, 9 times out of 10 somebody gonna get over on you, you know, because you don't know the rules. They could even make up a rule and you don't know anybody. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was a rule. And you know, and it probably ain't even a rule. But your ignorance of the thing that is presented of you, once you show that ignorance, they're gonna capitalize.
Yeah, they're gonna use it against you. That's what they say. You know, they promise you that.
Right, they tell
They
you
promise you that.
anything you say can and will.
Because you got to realize they're going to take this back to their think tank. Yeah, you dealing with the big brute with no brains, you know what I'm saying, that's hot-headed. Yeah, but they're going to take this, you know, these words that you use, whether they record it, whatever, they're going to take it back to their think tank because they got people with a lot more sense than them and you. Because, you know, we're talking about multiple people versus you. But, yeah, speaking on the register, you know, like the people can look up. Basically, number one, before I say that, you know, anything you register with someone, they own. You know, Regis coming from the king. So the registrar was the king. You know what I'm saying? Like we say the registrar, the register, you know what I'm saying? Or anything you register with someone belongs to them. And ain't that crazy? I just said the word register. Like when you go to the store, the cash register. Who the hell you think when you register them dollars in the cash, you know, in the store, who the hell you think them dollars belong to? You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing with anything you get registered. Because if you look at your titles, you know, on the front, it say, the person who sold it to you signs, then you sign, then they tell you you don't have to sign on the back. Because on the back, it says, to whomsoever is the rightful owner, if it is, you know, a name that's not listed on the front, please sign here. And they put a stamp, Department of Motor Vehicles on your shit. You know what I mean? So you park in the wrong spot or space or place, they can come take that. This took, you know what I mean? Because it's registered with them. So they coming to get their shit. That's how they look at it. And, you know, and that's another thing about property. They can't own property. And people not understanding how this really, really goes. You know, so, you know, if you look up deregister, if you look up deregister, you're gonna see how people, you know, operate in a private capacity instead of the public way that you only know of. when we go to the DMV, we only know about getting the public plates. We don't know about getting the private plates. Hmm? We don't know about being respected on that level because this is our private property and we need to stop giving it to these heathens. That's why even the prophets say, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. We are rendering unto Caesar what we've worked hard for all of our lives. With that, I yield the floor.
Yeah, most definitely. It's once we, I mean, I hate to sound so Jesus like he just did, but once you give back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, Joe, it becomes a different scenario. You leave that shit. We need to leave that shit alone. And just think before we react. My whole point of wanting to join Brother Calico with this subject was specifically because of the children part. I cannot stress enough that my opinion is that if you send your children to Caesar, don't be mad when they come back as Romans. All right. If you send your children to Caesar, do not be mad when they come back as Romans because you asked for that. You asked for that. So it's not an easy task, but try to homeschool. My advice, my layman's advice would be, just try to make sure that these rules you don't even have to worry about do they apply for you or not. Should you worry about did you give consent or did you imply consent? Nothing. My children are home safe or whatever, and I'm not telling you school does not work or anything like that, but just think about it. How many people that went to school and actually are in a job that they went to school for? I guarantee you at least 90% of the people that that they went to school for something, they didn't get a job doing what they went to school for. Unless it's something very, very, and even those people, like something like a doctor, that after putting in so much time, yeah, you're gonna be a doctor because you're gonna make a shitload of money, but you could go to business school and end up being a carpenter. you know, uh, 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 my wife is one of those people. She's a nurse. But by the time she finished school, being for to be a nurse, the job that she had was already paying her way more than any nursing job was going to be willing to pay her starting pay. So she was looking at it like, damn, I got to take a $9 pay cut to start off, because this was a while ago. This was like 7, 8, 10 years ago, when she finished school. We've been together 17 years, and she about 10 years ago she was in school. She finished this so she could be a nurse. And when she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go get a job and all this, I tell her now, I'm like, ain't you glad you're not at a nursing home? Because or working at a hospital or anything like that. Because if you were in a place like that, these vacations that they're forcing on people, those people, they are getting fired. If you work at a hospital, you gonna take this vacation. You gonna go to Honolulu, enjoy the sun, and take this vacation right quick, but you gonna take it, or you gonna get fired. There's a lot of them out there speaking out on that, how they're getting kicked out, but you know this whole paper that gives you permission to be smart, fuck that paper. You're already smart. You're a genius. You know it all. It's in your genes. Do not go out with a bang this year and stay with your original genes. Fuck all that transhumanism shit.
Hey, hey, come to the light because it's gonna be a dark winter. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
dark winter, so y'all better come to the light. And Empress, y'all seen it? You got any final words for the people?
Yeah, we got to keep trying to wake them up. I know it's tiresome, and and you may get discouraged, but if we don't keep doing this, if we don't keep getting in their ass trying to wake these people up, and by sheeple I mean all the people who just love the government, who love all the rules, don't challenge anything, don't even know anything about rights or want to learn. If I try to talk about to somebody about their rights, they're gonna shun me off like, yeah, we don't need to know all of that. They're not even gonna take me for serious because I don't have a degree or whatever in that field. But I do want to say that most nurses, RNs, they don't know, they don't for real know how the immune system works. They don't.
Showing the
They
fuck up.
know what they learn on the job as they make their rounds, handing out medications. They actually have to go to a
And,
board or higher up to see what they should do and tell that patient. So they have that degree, but they don't have all the knowledge, and that's why it's easy
and
to run this vacation thing on everybody.
yeah, and
That's exactly why.
in the spirit of talking about I do not consent, the officers don't necessarily know rights in the Constitution and such. So it's
They
not their
don't.
place to teach you, even if they do know. But it might be your place to teach them. You know. So we
Yes,
talking about
sir.
knowledge is going to be the power. Period.
It is, and somebody's got to bring it. And I don't mind. I know you guys don't mind. So
Right? Yeah,
we got to
yeah.
keep doing what we've been doing.
We are. We will. You know, I seen a meme today. That's how I'm gonna end it with with the community today. I see a meme today that brought some enlightenment to me today. You know, and for when you think of the government and you think of Congress and all this place, just remember that a group of baboons. It's called a Congress of Baboon. I didn't know that. I became aware of that too. Was it yesterday? Yesterday or the day before yesterday? If you look at what a group of baboons is called, it's called a Congress of Baboons. So these idiots in there, acting a fool and doing monkey business, they're not our true leaders. Don't take that with a grain of salt.
That explains it all. That explains a lot.
I see. I always point out just the simple fact. Whatever the hell grass is, I don't know what grass is, but I know, we dealing with words like progress. We dealing with words like regress, and then we have congress. So it sounds like it ain't hitting on nothing. You know, I could definitely tell you that. Because I would rather have progress. You know, like some
You
people say
Right.
progress. Some people get mad at you like it ain't tomato or tomato. You like
Yes.
it the. It don't matter how you want to. But the progress.
We don't know
Not
what,
congress and not regress.
but we do know what con is, even if we don't know what the gress is.
I
We know
mean,
what the con is.
in a hood way, I know what you mean, con, but definitely
Yeah.
con supposed to mean width. It means with some aggression, maybe some, I don't know. I know what aggression is also. So aggression,
Well,
progress.
there's pros and there's cons. They're not the pros.
Oh, that's why I say I'm looking for
Yeah,
progress,
so they're the
and
cons.
they're
They're
not bringing
cons.
that. No, that's what we're gonna have to form. We don't need a form in our republic.
Yeah.
There needs to be a progress, not a congress. You know,
Right,
One
most
day.
yeah. Now,
Yeah.
huh?
definitely. But I appreciate you having me on the platform, brother Calico. It's always a pleasure to come here, especially if I get the privilege and the honor of having Sister Yasini joining us. Uh, it's always real good to have us get together and put our thinking caps on. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I appreciate the opportunity. Like the video, share the video. Make sure that you put it on all the platforms that you have availability, whether it be YouTube or put it on your playlist. put it on Facebook, share it on the groups, if you're on Instagram, share it on Instagram, or go to Twitter or whatever. Whatever your form of social media is, give us some love, show us so we could get more subscribes, more likes. Make sure that you subscribe to all our channels. You can find me under the Tazz Show on all platforms. It don't matter what it is, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. The Tazz Show. Subscribe, check out my channel. And again, I appreciate you, brother Calico, for having me.
Man, y'all already know anytime because I'm coming to y'all show real soon. Because I already know, man, they've been hating on us.
Yeah,
So, you know,
I'm on a strike right now, so I think still got like 3-4 more days before
mhm.
I can't go live or do anything or whatever.
Yeah. So, just like they're trying to cover all three bases, we're gonna cover all three bases. And if they take one down, you know what I'm saying, just catch me on the other side. You feel me? That's how it's always gonna be. But just the trifecta, the trio dios, you know what I mean? The three gods, you know what I mean? So y'all definitely gonna see a lot more. And shoot, all you gotta do is ask for it, and it's on the way. Matter of fact, y'all lucky if it was early, I would try to convince Tazz to do another video right after this, and let's finish the Illmatic, because that's the next one. Y'all got to get ready for that. It's called the Illmatic, and I ain't even gonna spoil y'all and tell y'all not even a clue of what it's about. You know, but yeah, that's the next one.
we gonna get a bit philosophical with y'all, but expect us all three to be doing a lot more shows together. So thanks again,
Right.
peace and love to the community. It's always great to be here.
Peace and love.